Now let's say while we were adding the test cases over here, let's say I've created this test where we were reading the data from the data provider, right, from the Excel sheet, right? So everywhere, like I've created a method get data inside this test case because I have to read data from Excel sheet. Same thing if I like after reading the data from here, I'll go to a open account and I want to get this data as well right from the Excel sheet, right? And then wherever the data is required, the test data is required, I want to read it from the Excel sheet. So what I'll do, I'll go to my Excel sheet and let's say I add uh, one more sheet over here uh, for the next test, right? So every test where we'll be reading the data, we can create a new sheet. Let's say I name the next test as open account test, open account test, right? And probably this will gonna have columns, let's say customer and currency. So I'll say customer currency, right? Customer name, I'll gonna give the same name that I've added over here, right? And currency, I'm gonna give rupee, right? So what I'm gonna do, let's say I'm gonna create a new test case over here. Same way like I've created add customer test, I'm gonna copy this and paste it over here because we'll be needing all the data providers in the third test as well. So I'll just open account test, right? Same name as of the sheet name. So in open account test, I'll name this as open account test, right? So I'm giving the same name, but I'm following camel casing. The method starts from the small letter, the class starts from the capital letter, right? And same thing, I'm gonna change it for the add customer test. I'll tell you the purpose behind it, right? I'll name it as add customer test with small a, right? So what I'll do, I'll add just two arguments over here. That is string customer and string currency, right? And I'll just say I'll gonna write this thing later on. Let me remove the entire code from here, right? And then we would be needing a data provider over here as well. So same stuff, same all these lines of code, I need to write it again. So it means if I have 100 test cases where I'll be reading test data, I need this get data 100 times, right? So again, this is a common code. What else can be done to optimize this code more? I can go inside test util and I'll copy the entire get data from here. Right. I'll copy this test data. I'll paste it over here. Right. And on top of it, I'm gonna write just one second. I'm gonna write at the rate data provider. So I'll write my common data provider over here in the test util file itself. Right. And probably I'll name this data provider as let's say DP, right? Data provider. And over here in the get data method, I'm gonna write something called as method M, right? What method M will gonna do? I'm gonna write import it to Java lang reflect. So this will actually gonna get the method name. Wherever I gonna execute this get data, it will actually gonna get that method name. And same method name, I'm gonna pass it over here. So I'll say m dot get name. See what get name will gonna do. Uh, get name returns the name of the method represented by this method, right? As an object of string. So it will actually going to return the string value. I'm storing it over here. So same value will be passed over here. Now what I'm going to do, if I go back to my test, instead of writing the entire thing like this, I'll go over here And instead of writing this, I can say data provider class equal to test util dot class, right? And then I'll say data provider equal to dp, right? So what it will gonna do, we are inside this method, right? The method name is add customer test, right? And when it goes over here, like it calls the data provider from the data provider class, and the data provider is dp. It will actually look for this data provider and pass on the sheet name over here, right? So this name is passed on to the sheet name. The sheet name is add customer test. It will actually going to read the data from the add customer test and will return the same data, right? Same thing, we can do it in our open account test. So instead of repeating the data provider, we can manage it over here. So data provider is dp and data provider class equal to test util dot class, right? And we'll make it more optimized. So you need not to write data providers in all the classes, all your test classes, right? So this will simply gonna have your at the rate test. And if I again run it, let's see if it gets executed. Right click, run as. We'll first do maven clean, right? And then I'm gonna do run as maven test. And let's see if the data is still read from the Excel sheet. See, the data is still read from the Excel sheet, right? And if you launch your extend reports, so we'll go inside the target, surefire, HTML, and this is the extend report, right? These are the latest screenshots that got generated. So you're gonna see both the tests are successfully executed, right? These are failing because we are in intentionally failing them, right? So we have added assertion intentionally, so we're going to remove them, right? So this is how you can create a common data provider inside your utility test util file, and you can share it amongst the test cases.